Hey y'all, how's it going? So I wanted to check in and do a quick video and check in about the planetary alignment that everybody's talking about. It started back on January 21st and it's here until January the 29th. Now I want to be very clear. This energy is at its zenith between this time frame, but the energy will last for about a good 3 to 6 weeks out, right? So it's really not something that you need to think about in terms of like, oh, if the planets are not like in lockstep in alignment, then the energy is gone. No, energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just kind of slowly fizzles out. Okay, so this energy is going to be in lockstep with a lot of the decisions that you choose to make and the ways that you choose to move and have conversations with people for quite some time. So let's be very clear, especially with a new moon. I believe it's a new moon. January the 29th. There will also be in Aquarius. Aquarians and other fixed signs are definitely going to be impacted a lot with what I'm about to say, but everybody's impacted. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an Aquarius, but there's a lot happening right now that is rooted in Aquarian energy. So that being said, when I'm looking at the placements and the aspects for this particular cycle of this alignment, as of today, this is a very water dominant chart, okay, and very mutable water chart, okay, for those of you all who are interested in, the elemental aspects of it. I say that because today we have, this is January the 25th, 2025. We have Venus in Pisces. We also have Jupiter in Gemini, which is also mutable. We have Saturn in Pisces, mutable. We have Neptune in Pisces, mutable. We have, for cardinal aspects, we have Mars in Cancer, and we have Mercury in Capricorn. Also, the moon is currently in Sagittarius, per the research in the app that I have. For the software, and so Sagittarius is also mutable. So there's a lot of mutable energy here, okay? From a medical astrological standpoint, when I'm talking about mutable energy, this is energy that transmutes, flows, it's not fixed in place, it's not static, it's not stationary, it's not energy, which is, like fixed signs. It's not like cardinal signs where it is the quintessential expression of that particular thing. So quintessential earth sign energy would be Capricorn, which is thought about as being miserly, but also very fixed and rigid in terms of and methodical in its approach to something. Very much about cultivation, hard work over time, right? When we think about earth energy, we think about some of those things. Mutable energy is usually something that is able to kind of morph, right? It's very it morphs a lot, it changes, it sublimates, right? So think about the dream space. The dream space is a very mutable thing, which is why, Pisces rules the dream world, right? Neptune, right? So when we're talking about current events, this is a time where you're going to see everyone in their feelings. And it will feel as if so many things are changing and being dismantled, but you cannot get caught up in illusion. This is key, especially with so much Pisces happening, like Piscean energy coming in. Separate and discern illusion from reality, right? Not to say don't be mindful of what is happening, but you gotta sift through the illusion, okay? Don't get caught up in panic and hysteria. This is also, when I'm looking at it from an aspect standpoint, we have Venus, which is currently again in Pisces, square the moon, which is Sagittarius. And we also have the moon, which is square Saturn. So essentially, you've got a lot of Piscean energy that is squaring off, right? Or like squaring up, if you will. Kind of fighting or opposing. Pisces and Sagittarius are like squabbling each other. No other way to really say it. Then you've also got Venus and Mars. So Venus is in Pisces. And then you've got Mars in Cancer, right? Which are sextile, right? And Uranus. Or sextile Uranus, which is Taurus, which is fixed earth energy. Y'all, lay low. Lay low, and if you're going to do anything, if you're going to sow seeds right now, if you're going to ask questions, if you are going to seek treatment, if you are going to do anything, be prepared for verbal diarrhea. So getting all the answers and possibly none, right? So a lot of word vomit that you got to sift through. If this is a time where you've been trying to get in contact with loved ones or someone, in a romantic sense and try to figure out how they're feeling or trying to lay something to rest, prepare for a lot of things to be unearthed. Having a lot of harsh truths and things that have been kind of laying dormant in the background being put out there. Be mindful of not having a shared delusion with someone else, right? So if you're starting a new relationship, starting a new project or things like that, don't get lost in the sauce. Try to focus on the brass tacks of things. Contracts, read over them multiple times, especially with Mercury being in Capricorn. Like, that is a saving grace right now. Cut through the BS. Get to the brass tacks. Don't get in your feelings. This is not a time for you to be cold and stoic. This is a time for you to embrace that change is inevitable, and the way in which you used to navigate things and the way that we have navigated things as a collective has to change. It's not about it's changing because this is a punishment. This isn't about who's right or who's wrong. This isn't about political parties. This isn't about anything like that. This is your own orbit has to shift. And as a collective, everything else has to shift. The question is, where do you allow your own orbit to intersect with the collective? And you have agency over that. That's the other thing that I'm seeing with this. You have agency over how you choose to navigate this construct. Now, the other thing you have to think about is Pluto is also in Aquarius, right? The last time you hear a lot about this right now is Pluto was in Aquarius the last time that all the revolutions were happening, world wars, things of that nature. It's a time of upheaval. It's also a time of cleansing and purging. Without thinking about it from a geopolitical standpoint, view it as a time for you as an individual to purge that which no longer serves you. And I get that it is very difficult to do that right now, but I'm here to tell you that part of the discipline that's required to reap what you want to sow on the other side of this is that you gotta fall within yourself. Fall into your nucleus. Everything here is about cultivation through sifting through the looking glass. I mean, there's no other way. I'm trying my best to explain it without getting political or without getting, doom and gloom about it. From a medical astrological standpoint, what I'm going to tell you is this is going to be a time where your heart and your subconscious are going to be trying their best to help purge and get rid of anything that has been holding you back, holding you down, and separating you from what you view as luxurious, comfortable, or safe mentally and emotionally. So this may be a time where you see people being a little bit more confrontational or needing to seek guidance or help on how to deal with a past abuser or being mistreated on the workforce. This is going to be a time where people are talking a lot about, lawsuits in terms of wrongful death or malpractice or not having been treated properly, being gaslit, not feeling as if they were accepted, maybe being misdiagnosed. Those types of things are going to come up a lot. Because the moon being in Sagittarius right now, this also lets me know that it's, square Pisces. This lets me know that universal truths are going to be held in a higher esteem and higher regard as opposed to the status quo. This is a time of challenge, but a necessary challenge, challenging of an old guard. but doing so from a space of not needing to always share the attack strategy, but embodying it day by day. I hope that makes sense. Additionally, with the moon square Saturn here, so the moon being in Sagittarius today and Saturn being in Pisces, this is also letting me know that what's squaring off here is any subconscious blockages that you may be navigating that impede upon any kind of discipline or consistency, like habits that you need to form. So this may be a time where your organizational skills may be called into question, or the organizational skills of an establishment, maybe your job. We're seeing that happen here in the US when it comes to the government. There's challenge that's going to be happening. Like, is this efficient? Does this truly work? Well, it's been working as well, but it's working against us. You're going to have that war within your head, right? Especially when it comes to finances, right? Saturn is all about law, order, government, karma, father time, but it also is attached to our resources. So be mindful about that too. When you lean into this particular aspect, I'm here to tell you, you will see the return handsomely on the other side. Anytime we lean into a square that has to do with Saturn, Saturn holds us to task, but Saturn also rewards heavily if you can lean into the lesson. And that is something that I think we all tend to miss. We see Saturn and we get scared, right? When we talk about something being squared Sagittarius, squared Saturn, in this instance, this is also from a medical astrology standpoint. See, words. The moon deals with your subconscious and your dream state, but also deeper aspects of like your dream world. I know that tends to go more so toward Neptune, but I'm also thinking about like REM sleep and things like that. Saturn is a hot and dry element, and planet. So when we talk about that, we're talking about chronic illness too. This is a time where if you're a person who navigates any type of chronic illness, less is going to be more. Hydration is key. Not just water, but electrolyte tabs or whatever it is that you do in order to get your trace minerals, right? So maybe some people are using, there's a brand called Trace that has like trace minerals, like little drops. You can do those. Magnesium salt in your water helps. Some people like to use Pedialyte or other, I think there's Noom that has like the hydration tabs, but there's several options. Check in with your healthcare provider to see what might work best for you. But hydration. The desire and the boost that you may feel driven toward achieving or enhancing goals, or wanting to move forward with a project, or moving forward with a collaboration or a new love, or just going head first into anything that you really have your heart and your mind set on wanting to do right now. Make sure that you're not running yourself hot and dry. Don't burn yourself out. Rest. Eat small portions throughout the day. So like I like to graze throughout the day. It's better than eating 3 big meals if you're going to, consume throughout the day. But pacing yourself and listening to your vessel are imperative right now. If you are a person who sits a lot for work, with the moon being square Sagittarius, this also lets me know that you're going to need to do a little bit more. The moon squared moon square Saturn and Sagittarius. You're going to need to make sure you do things with your hips. Sag rules the hips and the femur, right? And I always say the hips and the femur, because even though Scorpio is really more so about the hips and the pelvis, there's no way for you to strengthen anything pertaining to your thighs if you're not doing things that also help with your hips. So I put those two together. Stand up, stretch, go for walks, like I mentioned earlier. Anything that you feel will actually help to, loosen up, your hips and also keep them stabilized. So, deadlifts, yoga, resistance band training, things like that. You also want to make sure that you are being very conscious of what it is that you are spewing as far as ideology and belief. And you also want to make sure that this is a time where you're very cognizant of what is coming in as far as ideology and belief. Because during this alignment, peak manifestation period. Now, why am I saying this has a lot to do with Aquarian energy? Well, it's happening during the time of Aquarius, right? It's Aquarius season. But Aquarians, a lot of fixed signs, but Aquarians in particular, Aquarius has been sitting back, biding their time, going through it, and have held themselves back in ways that has not necessarily been fair to them individually, but it has been what has been asked of them from the collective. And at this point, it's not about Aquarius saying, no more, we're tired of being bullied. It's more about, hey, now it's my turn to turn up a little bit. Now it's my turn to show what I've been cooking in the background. Now it's time to say, hey, I'm all about humanity and humans on an individualized basis. So it's about giving more of themselves to the collective through their work and less with their person. I hope that makes sense. Fixed signs such as Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus will also follow suit with this. Taurus in particular, when it comes to their resources, Taurus is about to start saying, yeah, no, write that proposal, as opposed to in the past where they're like, sure, here you go. Yeah, no, you're gonna have to show some receipts. Leo is not about to come and fix anything for anybody. I'm just telling you now. Leo is going to be creating for themselves. Leo is going to be cheerleading from afar for the people that they love the most. But as far as coming in and saving the day and burning themselves with their beautiful, generous energy, few and far between. And good, they deserve to rest. Scorpio is definitely going to be letting people know, here's where I stand. Here are my boundaries. I love you. Kisses, mean it. Toodaloo. Right? It's about preservation for the fixed signs right now, especially Aquarius. For my mutable signs, this is going to be, so mutable being Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces, excuse me, Gemini. Why am I adding a fifth finger? Don't mind me. For those particular signs, you all are about to be very clear about what it means for you to communicate effectively and poignantly. This is about getting to the point. This is about, it's not necessarily about if it makes me feel good or if it makes you feel good. It's more about what needs to be said so that way healing can be fostered. When we're talking about cardinal signs, so that would be Cancer, Aries, Capricorn, and what's my other cardinal sign? Libra. This is a time for you all to not so much play a supporting role, but to shine through collaborating with others. Meaning, you all are going to be the people behind the people. And not because you don't get to shine and not because people aren't going to know who you are. It's going to be because the people that you are helping or the people that you're working with, right, or the projects that you're backing, whatever it is that you're backing, is going to shine so brightly. People are going to be like, yo, who did that? Or wait, who you been working with? Because you seem totally different. Wait a minute. Who helped you with your finances? Word of mouth is about to be your gold. All right. I want to go backwards really quickly because I forgot to mention that for fixed signs, the things that you all need to worry about, not worry, but think about, are going to be, from a health standpoint, Aquarius, rest, especially the brain. Find a way to find 5 minutes of silence to start your day. I mean, it works for everybody, but Aquarius, you're going to have to start your day in silence, whether you want to or not. Find a way to start your day with gratitude and to treat yourself to one thing that is for you and only you. I don't care if it's your favorite cup of coffee that nobody else touches or drinking out of a mug that nobody else gets to touch. I don't care if it's curling up in your blanket for like 5 minutes and like, this is amazing. Whatever it is, treat yourself to something that is uniquely for you. For Leo, from a health standpoint, pay attention to your cardiovascular health, but you also have to make sure that you are not only just drinking enough water, but please make sure you're eating enough. But whatever you're eating, it needs to be nutrient dense and not just focus, like fixating on your budget. Like, you gotta factor in nutrient density over just your budget. And I'm not tone deaf to the struggles right now when it comes to, you know, finances for everyone. But little things, even if it's just buying kale instead of iceberg lettuce, like, please try your best in order to think about, nutrient density. Scorpio, sleep cycles, pay attention to that, as well as TMJ is what I just channeled for y'all. And also kind of what I'm getting when I'm looking at this, like, release tension. Find ways in order to let your body, like, shut down, power down, so that way your hormones can balance. Excuse me. Taurus, for you, this is going to be a period where less is more as far as talking. So please pay attention to your vocal cords. And if you sing or speak for a living, give your throat and, some extra love. When it comes to the cardinal signs, Capricorn, please pay attention to sleep apnea, but also pay attention to moisturization of your skin, and of course check in with your dentist. But for whatever reason, Capricorn, I feel like this is going to be a time for you all to think about your skin, because you're going to be shedding old layers of yourself, and physically that's going to manifest as like sloughing up of skin. So pay attention to that. Libra, this is going to be a period for you to cut back on overindulging. Going back to what I was like telling you all to think about, like what it means to get down to the brass tacks of things. Is what you're putting into your body actually fueling you, or is it fueling your ego? So this may be a time where you all think about, smoking cessation. So not smoking anymore. Maybe this is a time where you give up drinking alcohol. Maybe this is a time where you think about going on a fast or a cleanse. But I recommend that for you. Cancer, this is an opportunity for you all to prioritize your mental health. You all have been stressed and strained and taking care of everybody, and this is going to be a year that forces you to take care of yourself, especially with Mars being in Cancer as of today. Please prioritize yourself. Aries, this is an opportunity for you to go back, and there's this commercial from when I was a kid, for Tonka toys, and it's like, come play in the dirt again. Like, you all got to get out and go play again. And I know that for Aries, y'all have had to, like, there's adulting, and then there's like Aries level of adulting for like the last 5 to 6 years. You have to prioritize playtime for yourself. It's not being anti somebody else. It's about reclaiming the thing that makes you you, which is the thing that brings you joy, that helps you to tap into that inner catalyst, right? So going back to the mutable signs, Sagittarius, from a health standpoint, like I mentioned, your hips and everything. Pisces, you all have got to do better about leaving drama alone. Why do I say that from a health standpoint? Pisces are incredibly empathic, and sometimes that disrupts how we view what is actually happening versus what we think is happening. And it's impacting your sleep, but it also has a tendency to impact your ability to trust yourself. So be mindful on a health standpoint of what you are allowing yourself to believe in versus what you need to just kind of like take with a grain of salt and then like let it go. Gemini, from a health standpoint, this is going to be a time where you all need to pay attention to your hormones. Similarly to Scorpio, I keep seeing things around like hair thinning, but this is also a period where you may want to consider how anxiety is playing a role in hormonal imbalances of fluctuation. Not so much cortisol, but like maybe histamine. And for those humans that are estrogen dominant, maybe needing to look into what that looks like around your moon cycle and how that may be playing a role in issues with hair, hair loss, hair thinning, scaly scalp, things like that. And Virgo, this is an opportunity for you to sit and disconnect from people. Like, Virgo has been way too visible for way too long, and like really, and not in a bad way. Like, we love y'all, y'all are amazing, but this is, you're afraid. Like, when I'm looking at y'all and I'm looking at this, like, y'all are afraid. And with all this mutable energy and not knowing which way is up and which way is down, it's causing you to, like, the nerves are just jumpy, hairpin, right? It's time to find a way to regulate and kind of like bring things down, and allow yourselves to just be human for a moment and desensitize. You're overstimulated. So if that's doing like a cryo float, if you're able to like put yourself in a room that's like got noise canceling stuff around, you know, white noise, or even just like the egg crate things around, please try to do that. If it's going earthing in the forest, you know, I know it's January and in many parts of the country it's cold, but if there's a way for you to go out, even, you know, even going for a walk in the snow, if you're up for that, just being around nature and grounding out in trees especially will help. So with all that said, with a very mutable, water dominated chart today, this is an opportunity for you to go deep within yourself, get clear about what it is that you want, and to utilize this time to manifest, you know, this cosmic energy to help manifest those things. Beautiful time for you to commune with the ancestors, however you know, see fit to do that, you know, whatever your traditions are around that. This is a beautiful time for you to do that. It's a beautiful time for you to see who you have been and to respect that, but allow that portion of you to live in that time and space. So that way the new you, or the version of you that needs to be in this time and space, can evolve and move forward. So that way you can be the incarnation of your future self when that time needs to come. I hope this was helpful. I feel like I was all over the place, but that's me. Keep your gazes forward. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this resonated at all.